in today.
Thanks, Kate.
We're really excited to have you as part of Fractional Talent Network. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and experience and expertise?
Well, I've done a lot of work in the IT industry over multiple decades. I've touched a lot of different kinds of technologies, but the last decade or so, I've been much more focused on AI and how we can use AI and machine learning to help clients solve their business problems.
Perfect. I love that. And specifically within AI, I know one of the things that makes you special and unique is the IoT side of AI. So AIoT is one of your coined terms too.
That's right. The AIoT, artificial intelligence of things, is there are two technologies that are both exploding that can merge together and provide really interesting information.
Perfect. Can you tell us about a recent consulting project or engagement that you've been working on and the cool business problems that you're trying to solve?
Absolutely. Generative AI is all the buzz these days. Everybody's looking for it. And it is awesome, cool technology. The thing that I've been doing, I'm working on two different projects now. They're both kind of in stealth mode. So I can't really talk about the details of them. But the thing that's interesting is taking generative AI technology and merging it with knowledge graph technology. The thing that's interesting about the knowledge graphs is you can put information into it that represents the information in a very condensed, very concise way that makes it fairly easy for the generative AI to go find it. So the idea of a knowledge graph is it's just like a graph that you've seen in high school, not a picture graph, a line graph, but nodes and edges. The nodes are the things, and the edges are the relationships between them. So the nodes might be, news stories or documents that you have, or people or places or things, some kind of thing. And then the relationships, the edges are the relationships. I know Kate. Kate knows me. I'm working with the fractional talent guys, right? And it provides a really concise way to represent information. So the question is, how do you merge from the generative AI over to the knowledge graphs? Now, one of the technologies that's come out recently that a lot of people are really excited about is called RAG technology, which is basically a way to take your prompt and encode it into a way to branch to a document, or technically a chunk of a document. And then so what they do is then they pull that chunk back into the generative AI. That's one hop in the way I like to think of it. But what I've been doing is saying, well, we'll do one hop into the knowledge graph, and then we're going to do 3 or 4 more other hops within the knowledge graph because we've already got that information in there. It's been pre-compiled, pre-condensed. We know that it's good. We can pull out a lot of really interesting information and pull it back. So I'm working on these two different projects with both generative AI and graph, and I think that's a really interesting combo.
I love that because it's taking it to the next level. It's not just using OpenAI, ChatGPT, which is being trained on the world's internet's data. You can train it on specific data that's specific for your company or your product or whatever you're building, and then you're keeping it, maybe hopefully secure and inside and clean. And we talk about, your big background in AI and responsible AI and governance and ethics behind the AI too, right? So I love that applied.
And what it's really trying to do is we're trying to reduce the hallucinations from the generative AI. They're getting much better at it, and it's awesome technology, but they still hallucinate. And the best I've seen is basically 1 out of every 40 prompts will contain hallucinations, which is really high for some use cases. And by focusing on the nouns and the noun phrases, which are the things in the graph, we can, if we get that right, we can reduce a lot of the hallucinations.
Yes, and get better correctness.
Better
and
correctness.
Truthfulness,
yes.
And therefore better answers and results.
And better citations that are not made up citations, but they're actual citations.
I love that. That's perfect. That's great. And then, Scott, so why fractional consulting at this stage of your career?
I've done a lot of things over the years, but I love doing a lot of different things. Just from my own personal experience, I get to dabble in lots of different things. But the fractional model is particularly interesting because a lot of companies don't need and can't afford full-time data scientists. They just don't need that. What they need is someone to come in and say, AI is big and huge, but you only need this. And so you need the broad experience to know that, but once you've kind of focused it in, then you can go to some of the more junior members of the team and they can begin to execute some of that. So it's still kind of at a strategic level, but it's bringing a lot of background knowledge into play. And the fractional talent model is, you don't need me full time. Don't pay for me full time.
Yeah. And I think where a lot of businesses are struggling is there's a lot of pressure from the board or the CEO or the president or the PE or VC firm of, you need to use AI. We can't be behind this AI thing. And so then the leadership team is struggling with, what AI do I need? And how do I apply AI safely and responsibly within my organization? Like, what tools are the right tools for me to use? And then also we talk about the knowledge transfer, the training, the helping, the adoption. We talk about the change management and the AI adoption, because, making sure that the employees know how to use it correctly, safely, balance the risk, but also, train them to do the job and take out that fear of AI is going to take my job, but more that embracing the adoption of using AI to do some of the manual, repetitive, non-strategic, non-intelligent tasks for you, to allow you to then upskill and do more of the human intelligent tasks.
You've touched on so many important topics. When a
This
lot
could be
of,
a whole webinar series.
when the senior executives or the board says we want to get AI, what they usually mean is they want to get generative AI. And that's cool, of course, but there's a lot of other things that are not, quote, generative AI that also need to be considered and evaluated. We talked about trustworthy AI a number of times.
Yeah.
Is that generative? Not really. But is it important? Oh, yeah. But there's a lot of other AI technologies that are also very important. They've only been around almost 70 years. There's a lot of really good stuff there. It's not generative, but it can influence, help, enrich a generative AI solution as well. So yeah, there's getting someone that's just been playing around with OpenAI for 6 months. That's great, but there's a whole lot more to AI than just that.
And it's dangerous to be experimenting with a new technology that you don't know the guardrails and you can't bring in and balance the risk and the security. And so one of the things I love is that the recent video that we did with you and Rami on responsible AI and governance. And so that's the blend of fractional executive consultants, right? You're the AI data scientist expert, right, and he's the security risk compliance expert. And so then how do you come together to form this team to provide that guidance to a company? And how does that company pay for just the deliverable or the outcome or the result of setting up governance or setting up a AI governance committee or rules or policies of how to use it responsibly?
Yeah,
is a great business example.
I was talking about you've got to get kind of the whole picture of AI, but you just touched on everything else. Well, how are you going to govern that? Is that AI? Well, not exactly, but it's important. How are you going to manage it? Project management, change management, adoption, super important.
Yeah, security risk compliance, right?
Security risk compliance.
So if you are exploring AI and want to learn how you at your company can figure out AI, use AI, and do it in a responsible way that doesn't get you in trouble with our government or regulatory compliance authorities, contact us at Fractional Talent. We'd love to have you talk with Scott or Rami or John or someone from our team that has a good background and experience to help guide you, put up those guardrails, and help you successfully implement AI for your business needs. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Kate.